Naomi Chandler spent 5 years making herself invisible to survive in her husband's world. So when she finally decided to leave Sihu, the Korean Mafia boss who never really saw her anyway, disappearing was easy. She packed up her entire life in 4 days while he was out of the country, withdrew half their money, hired a lawyer he had never heard of, and vanished into Seoul like she had never existed. When Sihu came home expecting his quiet, obedient wife to be waiting with dinner, he found divorce papers, an empty apartment, and a single sentence that made his blood run cold. The woman he underestimated for 5 years had just outplayed him completely. And he had absolutely no idea how to find her. Naomi Chandler found the receipt on a Thursday. It was tucked inside Sihu's jacket pocket, the one he wore to his father's memorial 3 days ago. She was taking it to the dry cleaners like she always did, checking pockets for loose change or business cards when her fingers brushed against the folded paper. Grand Joseon Hotel, Executive Suite. One night. The date matched perfectly. She stood in their bedroom, the jacket still in her hands, and everything went very quiet inside her head. Not the dramatic kind of quiet you see in movies, just a simple, cold understanding that clicked into place like a door locking. Her husband had not come home that night. He said he was staying at his mother's house because the memorial gathering ran late and he had too much to drink. She had believed him because, why wouldn't she? In 5 years of marriage, she had believed everything. Naomi set the jacket down on the bed, smoothed out the wrinkles, and walked to the kitchen. She made herself tea. Her hands did not shake. That surprised her a little. She thought they should shake, that something in her body should revolt. But her fingers were steady as she poured the hot water over the jasmine leaves. The apartment was spotless, like always. She had cleaned it yesterday, every corner, every surface. This was what she did now. She cleaned and cooked and arranged flowers and learned to bow at precisely the right angle when Sihu's family visited. She had become very good at all of it. Her phone buzzed, a message from her mother-in-law. "Yuna's mother and I are having lunch next week. You should join us. It would be good for you to learn from her family's traditions." Naomi read it twice. Then she understood something else, another lock clicking into place. They knew. Of course they knew. She deleted the message and drank her tea. That night, when Sihu came home from work, she had dinner ready. Galbi, his favorite, with 7 different side dishes arranged properly on the table. She had changed into a nice dress, the blue one he once said he liked. "Smells amazing," he said, loosening his tie. He looked tired. There were shadows under his eyes. "How was your day?" she asked, pouring him water. "Long. The meeting with the Busan group went badly. They are pushing back on the new territory agreements." He sat down, and she served him rice. "My mother wants us to come to dinner on Sunday. The Parks will be there." "The Parks," she repeated. "Yes. You know, Uncle Park and his family." He said it casually, like it meant nothing. Yuna was Uncle Park's daughter. "Of course," Naomi said. "I will make sure to prepare something to bring." They ate dinner. She asked about his day. He asked if she had called the contractor about fixing the guest bathroom. It was all very normal, very polite. They had become experts at polite. After he went to shower, she sat at the dining table and stared at her plate. She had barely eaten anything. The galbi had taken her 4 hours to prepare, including 2 trips to different markets to find exactly the right cut of meat. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was her friend Amara from university, the only person from her old life she still talked to sometimes. "Coffee this week. I am in Seoul for a conference. Would love to see you." Naomi typed back immediately. "Yes." "When?" 3 days later, she met Amara at a cafe in Gangnam, far from the neighborhoods where Sihu's family did business. Amara worked for an international law firm now, the kind that handled corporate mergers and cross-border disputes. She had cut her hair short and wore bright red lipstick. "You look different," Amara said, and Naomi knew she did not mean it as a compliment. "Different how?" "Smaller, I think. You used to take up more space." Amara stirred her coffee. "Is everything okay? You sounded strange on the phone." Naomi had not planned to tell her, but sitting across from someone who knew her before Sihu, before Korea, before she learned to bow and smile and disappear, something cracked open. "If someone wanted to protect themselves legally," she said slowly, "before a divorce, what would they need?" Amara's hand stopped moving. She set down her spoon very carefully. "Are you asking as a hypothetical?" "No. What happened next changed everything. But before I tell you that part, I need you to do something for me. If you are listening to this story, and you are feeling something, anything at all, leave a comment and tell me. Tell me if you have ever felt invisible in your own life. Tell me if you have ever given up everything for someone who did not see you. I want to know I am not just talking to myself here. And if you are new, welcome. Settle in, because this story goes places you will not expect." Amara leaned forward. "Okay, first, you need copies of everything. Bank statements, property documents, anything with both your names on it. Do you have access to his financial records?" "Some. He thinks I only use the household account, but I have seen where he keeps his documents." "Does he know you can read Korean?" Naomi almost smiled. "He thinks I only know enough to shop and order food. His family thinks I'm decorative." "Perfect. Use that." Amara pulled out a pen and started writing on a napkin. "Second, you need your own lawyer. Not someone local, someone outside his network. I know people. International firms that do not care about stepping on toes. His family has connections everywhere. Not everywhere. Trust me." Amara slid the napkin across the table. 3 names, 3 phone numbers. "These people handle cases involving organized crime families. They know how to keep clients safe." Naomi folded the napkin and put it in her purse. Her heart was beating fast now, finally. "What if I'm making a mistake? What if I'm overreacting?" "Are you?" She thought about the hotel receipt, about Yuna sitting next to Sihu at the memorial, her hand on his arm, about his mother's message, casual and cruel, about 5 years of being introduced as Sihu's wife from Africa. Like that explained everything that was wrong with her. "No," she said, "I am not." They talked for 2 more hours. Amara explained things about asset protection and legal separation, and how to document everything without leaving traces. She made it sound simple, like following a recipe. When Naomi got home, the apartment was empty. Sihu was working late again. She went to his office, the room she was not supposed to enter but cleaned anyway, and opened the filing cabinet. Everything was there. Property deeds for 4 buildings she did not know they owned. Account statements for banks in 3 different countries. Partnership agreements with names she recognized from dinner parties and memorial services. She took photos of everything with her phone, careful to put each document back exactly as she found it. It took 3 hours. Her phone buzzed at midnight. Sihu, texting that he would be home soon, asking if she was still awake. She sent back a heart emoji and put the files away. When he came home, she was in bed, pretending to sleep. He kissed her forehead softly, and she kept her breathing steady and even. That was 2 weeks ago. Now, Naomi sat in a lawyer's office in Itaewon, the kind of neighborhood where foreigners mixed with Koreans, and no one looked twice at a woman like her. The lawyer's name was Margaret Chen, and she wore glasses that made her look severe. "I have reviewed the documents you sent," Margaret said. "Your husband's family is involved in what we would classify as organized criminal activity, though they have legitimate business fronts. Are you aware of this?" Yes. And you still want to proceed with divorce? Yes. Margaret nodded. Good. Women who hesitate in situations like yours usually end up with nothing. You are smart to move quickly. She opened a folder. Based on what you have provided, you are entitled to a significant settlement. You have been married 5 years. You gave up your career, and you contributed to the household. Korean law is actually quite favorable in this regard. I don't want his money, Naomi said. I just want out. I understand the impulse, but you should take what you are owed. Think of it as compensation for lost time. Margaret's expression softened slightly. You put your life on hold. That has value. Naomi thought about her degree in international development, the job offer she had turned down in Nairobi to follow Sihu back to Seoul, the plan she had made that evaporated the moment she said, I do. Okay, she said. Then I want enough to start over properly. That I can do. They spent the next hour going over details. Margaret explained the process, the timeline, the likely responses. She was thorough and efficient, and she did not ask questions about feelings or second chances. Naomi liked her immediately. One more thing, Margaret said, as Naomi stood to leave. Do you have somewhere safe to go when you serve the papers? These situations can escalate unpredictably. I'm looking for an apartment now. Good. And Naomi, do not tell anyone about this. Not friends, not family. Definitely not his family. The element of surprise is your biggest advantage. Naomi nodded and left. Outside, Seoul was bright and busy, people rushing past with coffee and shopping bags, couples holding hands. She stood on the sidewalk and felt completely alone in the middle of the crowd. Her phone rang. Sihu. Hey, she answered, making her voice light. Where are you? I thought you would be home. Just running errands. Do you need something? My mother wants you to come to lunch tomorrow, with Yuna's mother. She said she texted you last week. There it was again. Yuna's mother. They were not even being subtle anymore. I can come, Naomi said. What time? 1 o'clock, at the usual place. He paused. Are you okay? You sound different. I'm fine, just tired. Okay, I will see you tonight. I'm bringing home fried chicken. Sounds good. She hung up and stared at her phone. He was bringing home fried chicken, her favorite, like that fixed anything. Like 5 years of being tolerated instead of loved could be smoothed over with food. She went to 3 apartment viewings that afternoon. The first 2 were too expensive or too close to neighborhoods where Sihu's family operated. The third was perfect, a small place in Yongsan near the university, the kind of area where students and foreigners lived, and no one paid attention to anyone else. I will take it, she told the landlord. When do you want to move in? 2 weeks. She paid the deposit in cash, money she had been saving from the household account in small amounts. Sihu never noticed. It was her own form of disappearing, one by one. That night, Sihu came home with chicken and beer, and they ate on the couch watching a drama she did not care about. He fell asleep with his head on her shoulder, and she sat very still, looking at his face. He was handsome. That had not changed. But she tried to remember the last time he really looked at her, really saw her, and could not. The next day, lunch with the mothers was exactly as bad as she expected. They met at an expensive restaurant in Gangnam, the kind where the servers bowed deeply and the menu had no prices. Sihu's mother, Mrs. Bak, arrived first, already seated at a private table. Yuna's mother, Mrs. Park, came 5 minutes later, and they greeted each other like old friends. Naomi bowed properly, said the right things, sat where she was supposed to sit. Naomi, you look well, Mrs. Park said, which was Korean polite speak. For we are being civil, but I am judging everything about you. Thank you. So do you. Mrs. Baek ordered for the table without asking what anyone wanted. Naomi had learned early that speaking up about food preferences was considered rude, so she stayed quiet. Yuna is doing very well at the company, Mrs. Park said. She has taken over the entire international division. Very impressive for someone so young. She always was bright, Mrs. Beck agreed, and beautiful. She takes after you. They went on like this, trading compliments about Yuna like Naomi was not sitting right there. She ate her food and smiled when appropriate. Naomi, dear, Mrs. Beck said eventually, turning to her with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Have you thought about what we discussed? About perhaps spending some time back home in Africa? I know you must miss your family. There it was, the polite version of leave. I have not thought about it, Naomi said carefully. My home is with Sihu. Of course, but a visit might be nice, give you perspective. Mrs. Park sipped her tea. It must be difficult, being so far from your culture. Korea is very different. I have adapted well. Yes, you have tried very hard. Everyone says so. Mrs. Park set down her cup. But trying and belonging are not quite the same thing, are they? The words hung in the air, polite and poisonous. Naomi could have said many things. She could have mentioned that she spoke Korean better than some of their business partners, that she had studied their history and culture more thoroughly than most Koreans bothered to. She could have pointed out that she had spent 5 years making their son happy, or trying to, which was more than they ever did. Instead, she smiled. You are right. They are not the same thing at all. She excused herself to the bathroom and stood in the marble stall, breathing slowly. Her reflection in the mirror looked calm. She had gotten very good at looking calm. When she returned to the table, they were talking about a charity event next month, some fundraiser for children's hospitals that was really just an excuse for rich families to show off. You will come, won't you, Naomi? Mrs. Beck asked. It would be good for Sihu if you were there. Of course, but she would not be. In 2 weeks, she would be gone. The lunch ended with more fake smiles and polite bows. Mrs. Park hugged Mrs. Beck and said something about getting their families together soon, very soon. The meaning was clear. Naomi took a taxi home and threw up in the bathroom as soon as she walked through the door. Not from sickness, just from the effort of holding everything in. She washed her face and went to Sihu's office again. This time she photographed the contracts with the Park family, partnership agreements going back 20 years. She found correspondence between Sihu's father and Uncle Park, discussing territory divisions and profit sharing. And then, in a folder marked Personal, she found photos from the memorial service. Sihu and Yuna, standing close, his mother in the background, watching them with approval. Another photo, later in the night. Sihu's hand on Yuna's back, guiding her toward a car. Naomi sat down in his desk chair, still holding the photos. So it was not just one mistake, one drunken night. It was planned. His mother had orchestrated the whole thing, and he had let it happen. She put the photos back exactly where she found them and closed the folder. Her phone timer went off. Sihu would be home in 30 minutes. She went to the kitchen and started dinner. When he arrived, she was cooking kimchi stew, something simple. He looked exhausted, his shirt wrinkled, his eyes red. Bad day, she asked. The worst. Uncle Park is making demands about the Busan territory. He wants a bigger cut. Says his family has been too generous for too long. Sihu sat at the table and rubbed his face. My mother thinks I should give it to him. Keep the peace. What do you think? I think he is pushing because he knows he can. Because everyone sees me as weak right now. Why would they see you as weak? He looked at her then, really looked. And for a second, she thought he might tell her the truth, confess everything, apologize, try to fix it. I don't know, he said instead. Politics, family stuff. Right. family stuff. She served him dinner. They ate in silence. Later, in bed, he reached for her hand in the dark. "Naomi?" "Yes." "Are you happy?" The question surprised her. He never asked things like that. "Why are you asking?" "I don't know. You seem far away lately." She could have said so many things. She could have told him about the hotel receipt, the lunch with his mother, the photos in his office. She could have asked him about Yuna, about whether he loved her, about whether he ever really loved his wife. "I'm just tired," she said. "Okay, get some rest." He fell asleep quickly, his breathing deep and even. Naomi lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, counting down the days until she could leave. 13 more days. The next morning, she met with Margaret again. The lawyer had drafted the divorce papers, everything official and legal and ready to sign. "Once you serve these, there is no going back," Margaret warned. "Are you certain?" "Yes." "Then sign here, here, and here." Naomi signed her name 13 times, her hand cramped by the end. "I will hold these until you are ready," Margaret said. "When you are moved into your new apartment and safe, let me know. We will have them delivered to your husband at a time when he will be most likely to be alone. The shock works better that way. What happens after he gets them? He will contact you, try to talk. When that does not work, he will get angry. Then his family will get involved, and it becomes a negotiation. That is when I earn my fee." Margaret smiled, sharp and confident. "Do not worry. I have handled worse than the Beck family." Naomi hoped that was true. She spent the next week quietly moving things out of the apartment. Small things first. Items Sihu would not notice. Her books, her clothes, her photos from home. She packed them into boxes and had them delivered to a storage unit across the city. The apartment started to look different, emptier. But Sihu did not notice. He was too busy with work, with his mother's demands, with whatever was happening between the families. On day 8, she withdrew half the money from their joint account. It was legally hers, Margaret had confirmed, but she still felt like a thief doing it. She opened a new account at a different bank, one with no connection to the Bayek family businesses. On day 10, she went to the apartment in Yongsan and started setting it up. A bed, a small table, some kitchen supplies. It looked nothing like the place she was leaving. It looked like hers. On day 12, Sihu told her he had to go to Manila for business, some problem with a shipping partner that needed handling in person. "How long?" she asked. 4 days, maybe 5. "Will you be okay alone?" "I will be fine. I will call you every night." "Okay." He left the next morning, kissing her goodbye at the door. She watched him go and felt nothing. As soon as he was gone, she called the movers. They came that afternoon, 3 men who asked no questions and loaded everything quickly. She took her clothes, her personal items, the few pieces of furniture she had brought into the marriage. She left his things untouched. By evening, the apartment looked like a stranger lived there. All the warmth gone, just expensive furniture and empty space. She cleaned everything one last time, wiped down the counters, vacuumed the floors, washed the dishes. She wanted to leave it perfect. Then she took off her wedding ring and set it on the dining table, right in the center. Next to it, she placed the divorce papers, and beside those, a single note in her handwriting. "You can't lose what you never valued." She stood in the doorway for a long moment, looking at the apartment one last time. 5 years of her life had happened here. 5 years of trying to be good enough, Korean enough, quiet enough. She closed the door and did not look back. Naomi's new apartment smelled like fresh paint and possibility. She spent the first night sitting on her bed, eating convenience store kimbap and watching the city lights through her window. No one knew where she was. No one was coming home expecting dinner. No one needed her to be anything except herself. It felt strange. Good strange, but strange. Her phone rang at 9 o'clock, right on schedule. Sihu, calling from Manila like he promised. She stared at his name on the screen and let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Then she answered. "Hey, sorry, I was in the shower," she said. The lie came easily. "No problem. How was your day?" "Quiet. I cleaned the apartment and watched some shows. How is Manila?" "Hot. Complicated. The meeting today went badly. They want to renegotiate everything." He sounded frustrated, tired. "I might need to stay an extra day. Take the time you need. I am fine here." They talked for 10 more minutes about nothing important. She made the right sounds at the right times, asked the right questions. When they hung up, she deleted the call from her log. Then she texted Margaret. "He will be back in 5 days. Serve the papers on day 4 in the evening. I want him to find them when he gets home." Margaret replied immediately. "Confirmed. Are you safe?" "Yes. Completely moved. He has no idea." "Good. Stay that way." Naomi set down her phone and looked around her small apartment. It was maybe a quarter of the size of the place she left, but every single thing in it was hers. She had chosen the curtains, the cheap dishes, the thin blanket on the bed. No one's mother had opinions about any of it. She fell, asleep smiling. The next morning, she woke up early and went for a walk. The neighborhood was different from Gangnam, louder and messier and more alive. Students rushing to class, street vendors selling hotook and tteokbokki, old men playing jangi in the park. No one looked at her twice. She was just another person in the crowd. She stopped at a coffee shop and ordered in Korean, and the barista did not compliment her language skills or ask where she was from. He just made her coffee and called her when it was ready. Such a small thing, but it made her want to cry. She sat by the window and opened her laptop. Margaret had sent over information about graduate programs, part-time jobs, networking groups for international professionals in Seoul. Naomi had not looked at anything like this in 5 years. She clicked on the first link. Seoul National University. Master's Program in International Development and Cooperation. The application deadline was in 6 weeks. She started reading the requirements. Her phone buzzed. Sihu again, sending a photo of his breakfast. "Filipino food is amazing. I should bring you here sometime." She did not reply. By day 3, she had submitted applications to 4 different programs and signed up for 2 professional networking events. She updated her resume using her maiden name, Naomi Chandler, instead of Naomi Baek. Seeing her old name on the document felt like putting on clothes that actually fit. She also started going through the photos on her phone, deleting pictures of Sihu, his family, their apartment. 5 years of memories disappearing with each swipe. Some of them hurt to delete. Others felt like relief. Sihu called every night, same time, same small talk. She played her part perfectly. On day 4, he told her he was flying back the next evening. "I will be home around 8, he said. "Don't worry about cooking. I will pick something up." "Okay. Safe flight. Love you." She paused. She had not said it back in weeks, and he had not noticed. "See you tomorrow," she said, and hung up. Then she texted Margaret. "Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. The papers will be delivered at 7:30. Gives him time to process before you might theoretically come home, but you obviously won't. Do you have your story ready in case he tracks you down? I'm staying with a friend. That is all he needs to know. Perfect. After tomorrow, do not answer his calls for at least 48 hours. Let him sit with it. Panic makes people sloppy." Naomi sent a thumbs up and put her phone on silent. That night, she could not sleep. She kept thinking about Sihu walking into the empty apartment, seeing the ring, reading the note. Part of her wanted to see his face. part of her never wanted to see him again. Both things were true. The next day dragged. She tried to distract herself with errands, with reading, with anything, but every hour felt like 5. She kept checking the time. 7 o'clock. The papers were being delivered now. 7:30. Someone was handing them to him, or leaving them at the door. She was not sure which method Margaret had chosen. 8 o'clock. His flight was landing. 8:45. He would be in a taxi now, heading home, tired from travel, thinking about a shower and sleep. 9:15. He would be walking through the door right about now. Her phone started ringing at 9:23. See who? She watched his name flash on the screen and did not move. The call went to voicemail. Immediately, he called again. Then again. Then again. On the 5th call, she turned off her phone completely. She sat in the dark of her apartment, hugging her knees, and wondered what he was doing right now. Was he angry? Confused? Did he even care? Or was he just surprised that she had made a move first? She would find out soon enough. Across the city, in an empty apartment that used to be a home, Si-hoo stood in the middle of the living room, holding divorce papers in one hand and his wife's wedding ring in the other. He had read the note 5 times. You can't lose what you never valued. The apartment was so quiet he could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. All of Naomi's things were gone. The photos on the shelf, the plants she kept by the window, the throw pillows she had bought that he always thought were too colorful. Even her shoes were missing from the entrance. She had not just left. She had erased herself. He called her again. Voicemail. He tried texting. The messages showed as delivered but not read. Naomi, what is this? Call me back. We need to talk. This is insane. Where are you? Are you safe? Please just answer the phone. Nothing. He sat down on the couch, still holding the papers, and tried to understand what had happened. When he left for Manila 4 days ago, everything was normal. Naomi had kissed him goodbye, told him to be safe, waved from the doorway like always. How had he missed this? He went through the apartment room by room, looking for clues. Her closet was empty. The bathroom had none of her products. The kitchen was missing the specific tea she liked, the hot sauce she put on everything, the good knife she used for chopping vegetables. She had planned this, carefully, while he was gone. His phone rang. His mother. See who? I just heard from Attorney Kim. Someone from an international law firm contacted him asking about our family assets. He thinks it might be related to your marriage. What is going on? Naomi left, he said. His voice sounded strange, flat. She filed for divorce. Silence on the other end. Then, I see. Well, this is probably for the best. It saves us the trouble of having a difficult conversation. Something hot and angry flashed through him. For the best? Mother, my wife just disappeared. Your wife made a choice. Clearly she was never committed to this family. I told you from the beginning she was not suitable. His mother's voice was calm, practical. Now you can move forward properly. The Parks are expecting an announcement soon anyway. What announcement? About you and Yuna, of course. After the memorial, everyone assumed you two had reconciled. Her father has been calling about setting a date. See who stood up. Setting a date for what? The wedding, Sai-hoo. Do not be dense. This is what we have been working toward. I never agreed to marry Yuna. You spent the night with her. You made a choice, whether you want to admit it or not. His mother's voice hardened. And now that Naomi has conveniently removed herself from the situation, there is nothing stopping you from doing what is right for this family. He hung up on her. Then he threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked, but kept working, buzzing with new messages. He ignored them all. He looked at the divorce papers again. They were thorough, professionally prepared. Naomi was asking for a settlement, division of assets, complete separation. There was a lawyer's name at the bottom. Margaret Chen, International Family Law. He had never heard of her. He called his own attorney, woke him up at 10 o'clock at night. I need you to look into someone. Margaret Chen. She is representing my wife in a divorce case I knew nothing about until an hour ago. His attorney, Attorney Kim, sounded alert immediately. Margaret Chen? See who, she is very good, very expensive. She handles high-profile cases involving organized crime families. How did Naomi even find her? I don't know. Can you stop this? Stop a divorce? If she wants out, not really. We can negotiate terms, drag it out, make it difficult. But if she has Chen representing her, she has thought this through. Those lawyers do not take cases unless they think they can win. Sihu sat back down. What do I do? First, do not sign anything. Second, find your wife and talk to her. Maybe this is just a scare tactic. Maybe she is angry about something and being dramatic. Women do that sometimes. But Naomi wasn't dramatic. In 5 years, he had never seen her be dramatic about anything. She was quiet, calm, steady. She did not make scenes. That was the problem, he realized. She never made scenes, so he never noticed when something was wrong. He tried calling her again. Still nothing. He thought about going to her friends, her family, anyone who might know where she was. But Naomi did not really have friends here. She had his friends' wives, people she saw at gatherings and smiled at. And her family was in Africa, too far away to be involved. She had made herself completely unreachable. He spent the night in the empty apartment, not sleeping, trying to figure out where everything went wrong. Okay, I need to pause here and ask you something, because this part of the story is important. Have you ever watched someone realize too late what they lost? Have you ever been the person who left and felt powerful and terrified at the same time? Drop a comment and let me know, because Naomi's about to find out that freedom comes with its own complications. And trust me, you are going to want to hear what happens next. By morning, Sihu looked terrible. He had not slept, had not changed clothes. He made coffee and stood in the kitchen drinking it, staring at the empty space where Naomi's mug used to sit. His phone had 37 missed calls. His mother, Attorney Kim, Uncle Park, several business associates. He ignored all of them and called the one person who might actually help. His younger cousin, Min Jun, answered on the third ring. Do you know what time it is? I need you to find someone. What? Who? Naomi. She left. I need to know where she is. Min Jun was quiet for a moment. Your wife left you? Yes. Can you help or not? I mean, I can try. But see who, if she does not want to be found, and she planned this well, it is going to be hard. Does she have money? Resources? I don't know. Maybe. She took half the joint account. Smart. Okay, let me make some calls. I will see what I can do. Sihu hung up and finally looked at the messages. Most were from his mother, increasingly annoyed that he was not responding. One was from Uncle Park. We should meet. There are things to discuss regarding our family's future. He deleted it. Another message, this one from his business partner in Japan. Heard about your personal situation. Sorry to hear it. Naomi was always kind to my wife. If you need anything, let me know. That one surprised him. He barely remembered his business partner's wife, but apparently, Naomi had made an impression. More messages like that as he scrolled. Associates mentioning Naomi, asking if she was well, sending regards. People he did not even realize had noticed her. When had that happened? When had his wife become someone people remembered? He went to shower and change, trying to clear his head. When he came out, his mother was sitting in his living room. How did you get in? He asked. I still have a key. We need to talk. I don't want to talk. Too bad. Sit down. He sat, too tired to argue. His mother looked around the apartment with obvious satisfaction. Well, at least she left the place clean. I will give her that much. Don't. Don't what? Don't talk about her like that, like she was a housekeeper. His mother raised an eyebrow. I am simply acknowledging that she fulfilled her basic duties. But see who, you need to focus on what comes next. The parks are waiting for an answer. Yuna has been very patient. Patient about what? I never proposed to her. I never even said I wanted to be with her. You slept with her. The words hung in the air. Sihu stared at his mother. How do you know that? Please. I arranged it. The hotel room, the timing, making sure you two were alone after the memorial. You were drunk and emotional. She was available. It was obvious what would happen. He felt sick. You set that up? I created an opportunity. What you did with it was your choice. She folded her hands in her lap. And now you need to take responsibility for that choice. Yuna's family expects a wedding. If you refuse, we lose their support. Your cousin is already circling, waiting for you to show weakness. This divorce is exactly the kind of instability he can use against you. So I should just marry someone I don't love to keep the peace? You should marry someone appropriate and stop pretending love matters in our world. Your father married me because it was the right alliance. We made it work. You and Yuna will do the same. Sihu stood up. Get out. Excuse me. Get out of my apartment. Now. His mother stood slowly, her expression cold. You are making a mistake. When you come to your senses, I will be waiting. But don't take too long. The parks are not known for their patience. She left, and Sihu locked the door behind her. Then he sat on the floor and put his head in his hands. Across the city, Naomi was having a very different morning. She had slept well for the first time in weeks and woke up to sunlight streaming through her window. No one had called. No one needed her. She made breakfast in her tiny kitchen, just scrambled eggs and toast, and it tasted better than anything she had cooked in months. Freedom tasted like cheap bread and instant coffee. She checked her phone. 43 missed calls from Sihu, dozens of texts. She read through them once, quickly, and felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, just a distant sense that this was someone else's problem now. She blocked his number. Then she got dressed and took the subway to Seoul National University. She had an appointment with the admissions office about the graduate program. The campus was beautiful, full of students and energy and possibility. The admissions counselor, a woman named Dr. Kang, reviewed her transcripts and previous work experience. Your undergraduate record is excellent, Dr. Kang said, and your work with international development projects in East Africa is impressive. Why did you stop? I got married and moved to Seoul. My husband's work was here. And now? Now, I am ready to start again. Dr. Kang smiled. Well, we would be lucky to have you. The program starts in the fall semester. If you complete your application in the next 4 weeks, I think you have a very strong chance of acceptance. Naomi left the meeting feeling lighter than she had in years. She stopped at a bookstore and bought 3 books about international policy and economic development. Then she treated herself to lunch at a small restaurant where no one cared who she was or who she used to be married to. She was eating bibimbap and reading when someone sat down across from her. A man, maybe 50, wearing an expensive suit. He smiled politely. Naomi Chandler? Or should I say, Naomi Bike? She set down her spoon carefully. I'm sorry. Do I know you? No, but I know you. My name is James Huang. I'm an attorney with the Shin family. He said it casually, but the name meant something. The Shin family was one of the Bike family's biggest rivals, running operations on the other side of Seoul. I am not interested in whatever you are selling, Naomi said. I am not selling anything. I am offering an opportunity. He slid a business card across the table. You were married to Si-Hu Bak for 5 years. You lived in that world, saw how it operates. That kind of knowledge is valuable. I signed a non-disclosure agreement when I married him. Divorce voids most of those clauses, especially if you are protecting yourself from retaliation. My clients would be willing to pay very well for information about the Beck family's business operations. Account numbers, property holdings, partner relationships. Naomi looked at the business card, but didn't touch it. And if I say no? Then you say no. We are not the Becks. We do not force people. James Huang stood up. But think about it. You gave them 5 years of your life. They gave you nothing. Why protect them now? He left before she could respond. Naomi stared at the business card for a long time. James Huang, attorney at law, a phone number and email address. She picked it up, folded it in half, and put it in her wallet. Not because she would use it, but because it was good to know she had options. That evening, she went to a networking event for international professionals in Seoul. It was held at a hotel in Taiwan, the kind of place where foreigners and Koreans mixed easily, and no one asked too many questions about your background. She introduced herself as Naomi Chandler, recent applicant to SNU's graduate program. People asked what she had been doing for the past few years, and she said she had taken time off for personal reasons. No one pushed. She met a woman from Kenya working for an NGO, a man from Canada teaching English, a Korean-American woman who ran a consulting firm. They talked about work and Seoul and the difficulty of navigating Korean professional culture as an outsider. It felt normal. Better than normal. Felt like being a person again. You should come to our next meetup, the woman from Kenya said. Her name was Judith, and she had the kind of easy confidence Naomi used to have. We do these twice a month. Good way to build a network. I would like that, Naomi said, and meant it. She took the subway home, and for the first time in 5 years, she did not worry about getting back before someone noticed she was gone. She could stay out as late as she wanted. She could go anywhere, talk to anyone, be anyone. The freedom was dizzying. When she got home, there was a message from Margaret. Si-Hu's attorney contacted me. They want to negotiate. Are you ready for this to get ugly? Naomi typed back. I have been ready for 5 years. Let them try. She fell asleep that night with her phone on, silent, her future uncertain, and her life finally her own. Meanwhile, Si-Hu was discovering exactly how much Naomi's presence had mattered. He went to a business dinner that night, a meeting with partners from Incheon about territory agreements. He showed up on time, prepared, professional. But something was off. The partners kept asking about Naomi. Where is your wife tonight? One of them asked. She usually joins these dinners. She is not feeling well, Si-Hu lied. Ah, that is too bad. My wife always enjoys talking to her. She's one of the few people in your circle who actually listens. The partner laughed. You married well, Si-Hu. Smart and kind. Rare combination. Si-Hu just nodded and changed the subject, but it happened again at the next meeting, and the one after that. People noticed Naomi was gone. They asked about her. They mentioned things she had done, conversations she had had, impressions she had made. He had never realized how much she had smoothed things over, how many relationships she had maintained while he focused on business. She was not just his wife. She was part of his reputation. And now she was gone. His cousin Min-jun called on day 3. I found something. Naomi withdrew a large amount from your joint account the week before she left. She also rented an apartment in Yongsan under her maiden name. What is the address? That is the problem. The rental agency will not release it without a court order, and getting one of those takes time. She covered her tracks well. Si-Hu wanted to punch something. Keep looking. Si-Hu, maybe you should just let her go. If she wants out this badly, forcing a conversation is not going to change anything. I need to talk to her. I need to understand why. Minjun sighed. You really don't know. What does that mean? Nothing. I will keep looking. That night, Uncle Park called. Si-hoo considered not answering, but avoiding it would only make things worse. Si-hoo, we need to discuss the engagement. Yuna is getting impatient, and frankly, so am I. There is no engagement. I never proposed. You spent the night with her. In our world, that is as good as a proposal. Her reputation is at stake. Then I apologize for the misunderstanding, but I am not marrying Yuna. Silence. Then, in a colder voice, is this about your African wife? I heard she left you. Good riddance, I say. Now you can move forward appropriately. Something snapped in Si-hoo. Her name is Naomi, and she is worth 10 of Yuna. He hung up. His phone rang again immediately. He turned it off. He sat in the empty apartment, surrounded by silence, and finally let himself admit the truth. He had lost her, not because of one mistake, but because of 1,000 small ones. Every time he let his mother insult her, every time he introduced her as my wife instead of by her name. Every time he came home and did not really see her, did not ask about her day, did not treat her like a partner instead of a decoration. She had been invisible to him, so she made herself disappear. And now he had no idea how to get her back, or if he even deserved to try. 3 weeks after Naomi left, Si-hoo stopped going to the apartment. He could not stand the silence anymore, the way every room reminded him of something he never appreciated. He started staying at hotels, different ones each night, never the Grand Joseon. He could not walk past that building without feeling sick. His mother called every day. He stopped answering. Uncle Park called too, angrier each time. Si-hoo blocked his number. Yuna sent messages, sweet at first, then confused, then hurt. He deleted them all. Work was falling apart. He missed meetings, forgot important calls, snapped at associates who had been loyal for years. His cousin was circling closer, smiling at everyone, making friends, positioning himself as the stable alternative. Attorney Kim kept pushing for a settlement meeting. We need to respond to the divorce petition. You cannot just ignore this. Tell them I will agree to her terms, Si-hoo said. What? Without negotiation? Si-hoo, she is asking for a significant amount. I don't care. Give her whatever she wants. That is not how this works. We need to protect your interests, your family's assets. My family's assets are exactly why I am in this situation. Just give her the money. Attorney Kim sighed. Fine, but your mother is not going to be happy about this. Good. The settlement was finalized in 2 days. Naomi got half of everything they had accumulated during the marriage, plus a lump sum for lost career opportunities. It was more money than Si-hoo had spent on anything in years, and he felt nothing signing it over. Money could not fix this. Nothing could. But at least she would be taken care of. Margaret called Naomi with the news on a Tuesday afternoon. He agreed to everything. No negotiation, no pushback. The settlement is double what I expected to get. Naomi was sitting in a coffee shop near campus, reading for her graduate school interview. She set down her book slowly. He just agreed? Completely. His attorney seemed as surprised as I am. Men like Si-hoo usually fight these things on principle. Margaret paused. How do you feel about that? I don't know. Confused, maybe. Well, confused or not, you are about to be a very financially secure woman. The money should be in your account by the end of the week. After they hung up, Naomi sat there staring at her coffee. She had expected a battle, months of legal fighting, his family making threats, attempts to intimidate her into taking less. Instead, he just gave her what she asked for. She did not know what to do with that. Her phone buzzed. A message from Judith, the woman from Kenya she had met at the networking event. Coffee tomorrow. I want to introduce you to someone. She runs an NGO working in East Africa and Southeast Asia. They are looking for consultants. Naomi typed back immediately. Yes, what time? This was her life now. Job opportunities, school applications, friends who wanted to meet for coffee just because they liked her. No performances, no bowing at the right angle, no being the African wife who did not quite fit. Just Naomi, building something that was hers. The money from the settlement arrived on Friday. Naomi looked at her bank account and felt dizzy. She had never seen that many zeros in her own name before. She could do anything now, go anywhere. She did not need a job, did not need to worry about rent or tuition or anything. But she wanted to work anyway. She wanted to earn something that was not connected to him, to that life, to those 5 years. So she met with Judith's contact, a woman named Lisa Chen, who ran an organization called Bridge International. They focused on sustainable development projects, connecting African and Asian communities. Your background is exactly what we need, Lisa said over lunch. Someone who understands both contexts, who has lived in multiple cultures. We could use you on our Seoul team as a consultant, and eventually, if things go well, maybe project management. I am starting graduate school in the fall, Naomi said. I can only do part-time. Part-time works. Honestly, your network and insight are more valuable than hours logged. Are you interested? Naomi thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes, absolutely. Yes. They shook hands, and just like that, Naomi had a career again. She celebrated that night by calling her mother in Nairobi. They had not talked much during the marriage. Sihu's family made her feel like staying connected to her own was somehow disloyal. Naomi, is everything okay? Her mother sounded worried. Phone calls during the week were unusual. Everything is good, Mama. Really good. I have news. She told her mother everything. The divorce, the settlement, the new apartment, the job, the school application. It poured out of her like water from a broken dam. Her mother was quiet for a long moment. Then, why did you not tell me things were bad? I would have helped you. You did not have to stay. I know. I think I was ashamed. I gave up everything to marry him, and admitting it was a mistake felt like failing. Oh, my girl, leaving something that hurts you is not failure. It is strength. Her mother's voice was warm, proud. I am glad you are coming back to yourself. I have missed you. Naomi cried then, for the first time since leaving. Not sad tears, just relief. The kind of crying that happens when you finally let yourself feel safe. When can you come visit? Her mother asked. I want to see you. Your sisters want to see you. Soon? Maybe in a few months, when things settle down. They talked for another hour, about family, about home, about all the things Naomi had set aside. When they hung up, Naomi felt more grounded than she had in years. She was not lost anymore. She was finding her way back. But across the city, Sihu was getting more lost by the day. The settlement had gone through, the divorce was progressing, and he had nothing to show for any of it, except regret and an empty apartment he could not stand to visit. His business was suffering. 2 major partners had pulled out of deals, citing concerns about leadership instability. His cousin had successfully turned 3 of the old guard against him. Even his own mother had stopped calling, which meant she was planning something worse than arguments. He was losing everything, and he could not bring himself to care. Min-jun found him at a hotel bar one night, drinking alone. You look terrible, Min-jun said, sitting down. Thanks. The family is talking. They think you are having a breakdown. Maybe I am. Min-jun ordered a drink. You want to know what I think? I think you are finally waking up. You spent your whole life doing what they wanted, being who they needed you to be. Your wife was just the first person who made you question if that was enough. It is too late now. She is gone. So go after her. I don't even know where she is. Minjun pulled out his phone and showed Sai-Hu an address. I found her 3 days ago. She is living in Yongsan, working for an NGO, applying to graduate schools. She is building a whole new life. Si-Hu stared at the address. His first instinct was to go there immediately, to show up and demand they talk. But what would he even say? What should I do? He asked. Minjun finished his drink. Honestly, leave her alone. You lost her because you did not see her when you had her. Chasing her now just proves you still think this is about what you want, not what she needs. So I just give up? No. You fix yourself first. Become someone worth coming back to. Then, maybe, if you are really lucky, you get a chance to show her. Minjun left, and Si-Hu sat at the bar staring at Naomi's address on his phone. He wanted to go. Wanted to see her, talk to her, explain everything. But Minjun was right. He had no right to disrupt the life she was building. Not yet. Maybe not ever. 2 months passed. Naomi got accepted into Seoul National University's graduate program with a partial scholarship. She started her consulting work with Bridge International and was good at it, better than she expected. Her Korean language skills, her understanding of business culture, her ability to navigate complicated social situations, all the things she learned as Si-Hu's wife, became assets in her new career. Ironic, she thought. The skills she gained trying to please his family were now helping her succeed. Without them, she made friends. Real ones. Judith introduced her to a whole network of international professionals, and Naomi found herself going to dinners, art exhibitions, hiking trips. She laughed more in 2 months than she had in 5 years. She also started therapy, a counselor who specialized in cross-cultural relationships and identity. It helped to talk about everything, to untangle the mess of who she was versus who she had tried to become. "Do you miss him?" the therapist asked one session. "Sometimes. Not the real him, I think. The version I wanted him to be. That is normal. Grief is complicated. I don't feel like I'm grieving. I feel like I am celebrating." The therapist smiled. Those can happen at the same time. Naomi thought about that a lot. She was happy, genuinely happy, but sometimes late at night she would remember small moments. Si-Hu laughing at something stupid on TV, the way he used to bring her coffee in bed on Sunday mornings, back when they first got married, the early days when she still believed love could be enough. Those memories did not make her want him back. They just made her sad for the girl she used to be, the one who thought she could fix everything by being perfect. One afternoon, she was leaving campus after class when she saw him. Si-Hu, standing by the main gate, looking at his phone. Her heart jumped. She considered turning around, going back inside, avoiding this completely. But she was tired of avoiding things. She walked up to him. "Are you following me?" He looked up, startled. For a second, he just stared at her, like he could not believe she was real. "No, I mean, yes, sort of." He put his phone away. "I was hoping to run into you. I know you go to school here now." That sounds like following. "Maybe. I am sorry. I just wanted to talk." Naomi looked at him carefully. He looked different. Thinner, tired, older somehow. The confidence he always carried was gone, replaced by something uncertain and raw. "Okay," she said. "Let's talk." They went to a coffee shop off campus, one of those places full of students cramming for exams, neutral territory. Si-Hu ordered an Americano. Naomi got green tea. They sat across from each other like strangers. "You look good," he said finally. "Happy." I am glad." He meant it. She could tell. "I wanted to apologize for everything, for not seeing you, for letting my family treat you badly, for Yuna, for all of it." Naomi wrapped her hands around her tea. Okay, okay, that is it. What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we can start over? She shook her head. Sihu, I spent 5 years trying to be enough for you. I am not doing that anymore. I know. I'm not asking you to. He looked down at his coffee. I just needed you to know that I understand now. What I lost. What I threw away. You did not throw me away. You never really had me. She said it gently, but firmly. You had a version of me that I created to survive in your world. The real me, the person I actually am, you never wanted to know her. I want to now. Now is too late. The words hung between them. Sihu nodded slowly, accepting them. Are you happy? She asked. Really? No. But I am trying to fix things. I cut ties with my mother's side of the family. Told Uncle Park to go to hell. I am restructuring the business, trying to make it more legitimate. It is a mess, and I am probably going to lose. But at least I am trying. Naomi felt a small flicker of something. Not hope, exactly. More like recognition. He was changing, or trying to. But that did not mean she wanted to be part of it. I hope it works out for you, she said. I really do. Can I ask you something? Sure. Did you ever love me? Really? She considered lying, making it easier, but he deserved the truth. I loved who I thought you were, the man I met at university, the one who made me laugh and talked about changing the world. But that person disappeared when we came back to Seoul. Maybe he never existed. She took a sip of her tea. I loved the idea of you. I don't know if I ever knew the real you well enough to love him. Sihu absorbed that. It clearly hurt, but he did not argue. For what it is worth, he said quietly, I think I loved you too. I was just too stupid and too selfish to know how. I believe you. They sat in silence for a moment. Around them, students laughed and studied and lived their lives, completely unaware of the ending happening at this small table. I should go, Naomi said. I have a meeting in an hour. Right, of course. Sihu stood when she did. Thank you for talking to me. I know you did not have to. Take care of yourself, Sihu. She walked out of the coffee shop and did not look back. Outside, she took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking now, finally. But not from fear or sadness, from relief. She had faced him, said what she needed to say, and walked away on her own terms. It was over. Really, truly over. And she was free. Okay, before I tell you how this story ends, I need you to do me a favor. If you have made it this far, if you have felt something listening to Naomi's story, hit that subscribe button. Because there are so many more stories like this. Stories about people finding themselves, choosing themselves, becoming themselves. And I want you here for all of them. Now let me tell you what happened next. 6 months later, Naomi was thriving. She was halfway through her first semester of graduate school, maintaining perfect grades while working part-time at Bridge International. They had promoted her to project coordinator, and she was managing a development initiative connecting women entrepreneurs in Kenya and South Korea. Her apartment was full now. Plants, books, photos from home, art from local markets. It looked lived in, loved. She had started dating someone, a professor from Canada teaching at Yonsei University. Nothing serious yet, but he was kind and funny, and he listened when she talked. He knew about her past and did not try to fix her or save her. He just liked her for who she was. That was new and good. She still thought about Sihu sometimes, usually when she saw news about his family's business. The organization was changing, slowly. More legitimate operations, fewer shady deals. He was trying, she could see that, but it was not her problem anymore. One evening, she was at a charity event for Bridge International, networking with potential donors. when someone approached her. "Naomi Chandler? I heard you were doing amazing work with the Women's Initiative." She turned and froze. It was Yuna. "Park?" Yuna, wearing an elegant dress and a polite smile. "Yuna," Naomi said carefully, "I did not expect to see you here." "My family donates to several international organizations. I try to stay involved." Yuna glanced around, then lowered her voice. "Can we talk? Privately?" They stepped onto a balcony overlooking the city. Seoul stretched out below them, millions of lights, millions of lives. "I owe you an apology," Yuna said, "for what happened with Sihu. I knew he was married. I should not have let his mother push me into that situation." Naomi had not expected this. "Why are you telling me now?" "Because I heard what he did, how he walked away from the engagement, stood up to our families, tried to change things. And I realized that he did not do any of that when he was with you. He only fought after you left." Yuna looked genuinely regretful. "You deserved someone who would fight for you while you were there, not after you were gone. I am sorry you did not get that." Naomi considered her response carefully. A year ago, she would have been angry. 6 months ago, bitter. Now she just felt distant. "Thank you for saying that," Naomi said. "But honestly, it worked out. I am happy now. Happier than I ever was in that life. I can see that. You look different. Lighter, maybe." Yuna smiled. "For what it is worth, Sihu is miserable. He talks about you constantly, about how he messed up. I think he really did love you, in his own broken way. Maybe. But love is not enough if the person does not know how to show it." "No, I suppose it is not." They stood there for a moment. Two women connected by the same man, the same world, the same escape. "Are you happy?" Naomi asked. "With your life?" Yuna laughed softly. "Getting there. I told my parents I am not marrying for business. If I marry at all, it will be for me. They are not thrilled, but they will survive." "Good for you." They went back inside, back to the party, and Naomi felt a strange sense of closure. Even Yuna was choosing herself now. Maybe that was Sihu's real legacy. Not the business changes or the family drama, but the women around him finally realizing they deserved better. The event ended late. Naomi took a taxi home, tired but satisfied. She had made good connections tonight, potential donors who were genuinely interested in the work. When she got to her apartment, there was a package outside her door. No return address, just her name. She brought it inside carefully, half expecting something from Sihu. But when she opened it, she found a book, an old one, about sustainable development in East Africa, the kind of thing she used to read in university. There was a note inside. "I found this in a used bookstore and thought of you. Not trying to win you back or change your mind, just wanted you to know that I see you now. I see who you always were. I am sorry it took losing you to learn how. I hope you are building everything you ever wanted. You deserve it all. Sihu." Naomi read the note 3 times. Then she put it in a drawer and made herself tea. She did not cry. She did not call him. She did not do anything except acknowledge that this was his way of letting go. And that was okay. They were both moving forward now, just in different directions. A year after the divorce was finalized, Naomi was offered a position at Bridge International headquarters in Nairobi. "It is a big role," Lisa explained over video call. "Regional Director for East Africa. You would be overseeing all our projects in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. It is a lot of responsibility, but I think you are ready." Naomi's heart raced. "When would I start?" 3 months, after you finish your semester. Going back to Africa. Going home. Leading projects that actually mattered, using everything she had learned, everything she had become. "I will do it," she said without hesitation. "Excellent. Welcome to the leadership team. After the call, Naomi sat in her apartment looking at her life. Seoul had been good to her this past year. She had rebuilt herself here, found her strength, created something new. But Africa was calling her home. She started preparing to leave, finishing school projects, wrapping up her current work, saying goodbye to friends. The professor she had been dating was sad but understanding. "I knew you were too big for this city," he said. "Go do amazing things." "Thank you for seeing me," she said, and meant it. 2 weeks before her flight, she went to visit her favorite coffee shop one last time, the one near campus where she used to study, where she had started rebuilding her life. Sihu was there. She almost left, but he had already seen her. "Hi," he said. "Hi." They had not talked since the coffee shop conversation months ago. He looked better now, healthier. The darkness under his eyes was gone. "Can I buy you coffee?" he asked. "As a goodbye? You know I'm leaving." "I heard. Congratulations. Regional director is a big deal." She should have been annoyed that he was keeping tabs on her, but instead she felt nothing. No anger, no bitterness, just two people who used to know each other. "Sure," she said. "One coffee." They sat in the same spots as before. This time, the conversation was easier. He told her about the business changes, how hard it was but necessary. She told him about the new job, her excitement about going home. "You were always meant for bigger things than being my wife," he said. "I am sorry it took me so long to see that. I am sorry I let myself become small enough to fit your life. We both made mistakes." "Yeah, we did." They finished their coffee. When they stood to leave, Sihu held out his hand. "I hope you find everything you are looking for," he said. She shook his hand. "I hope you do too." And that was it. No dramatic declarations, no last-minute confessions. Just two people who loved each other badly, saying goodbye properly. Naomi flew to Nairobi 3 weeks later. Her mother and sisters met her at the airport, crying and laughing and hugging her so tight she could barely breathe. "Welcome home," her mother said. And for the first time in 6 years, Naomi felt like she really was. She threw herself into her new role. The work was challenging, exhausting, fulfilling. She traveled constantly, met incredible people, built programs that actually changed lives. She dated occasionally, nothing serious. She was too busy building her career, reconnecting with her family, becoming the person she was always meant to be. Sometimes, late at night, she would think about Sihu. Wonder if he ever really changed, if he found happiness, if he learned anything from losing her. But those thoughts came less and less often. He was a chapter in her story, an important one, but not the ending. She was writing her own ending now, and it was beautiful. 3 years after leaving Seoul, Naomi was invited to speak at an international conference on sustainable development. It was being held in Seoul, of all places. She almost did not go. But her work was important, and she was not about to hide from a city just because of old memories. She flew in, gave her presentation, received a standing ovation. Afterwards, people crowded around wanting to talk about her projects, her success, her vision. In the back of the room, she saw him. Sihu, older now, watching her with something like pride. Their eyes met across the crowd. He nodded once, a small acknowledgement. She nodded back. Then she turned to the next person wanting to discuss partnership opportunities, and he slipped out of the room. That night, alone in her hotel, she found a message on her phone. "You were incredible today. I am proud of you. Not that my pride matters anymore, but I wanted you to know. You became everything you were meant to be. Thank you for showing me what strength really looks like. I hope life gives you everything beautiful. Sihu." Naomi read it once, smiled, and deleted it. Then she called her mother and talked about work and family and plans for the future. She was happy. Truly, completely happy. And she had built it all herself. Some love stories end with reconciliation, with second chances and redemption. This one ended with a woman choosing herself, building a life that was hers alone, and never looking back. And honestly, that was the best ending she could have asked for. Because sometimes the greatest love story is the one you have with yourself, when you finally realize you are worth fighting for, worth protecting, worth celebrating. Naomi learned that the hard way, but she learned it, and that made all the difference. So here is my question for you, the one I have been waiting to ask this whole time. If you were Naomi, would you have left? Would you have had the strength to walk away from 5 years, from a marriage, from a life you built, even if it was killing you slowly? Would you have chosen yourself? Drop a comment and tell me. And if this story moved you, if it changed something in how you see love or strength or yourself, subscribe. Because I tell stories about real people making hard choices, and I want you here for every single one. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, you are always worth fighting for, even if the fight is walking away.